everybody. Welcome to the Mystery Guide. Well, fellow seekers, second week, here we go. This is a big case number 002, Madeleine McCann, More Than Meets the Eye. And I have a picture of Madeleine right above us. No sound. Why is there no sound? No sound. For me or everybody? If anybody, turn the volume up. No sound. I could use a tech in here. I have no sound. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Check, check, check. 1, 2. Audio mixer. And Stephen Lupo. Can't hear you. Louder, please. Okay, I'm going to try to get a tech in here. Stephen Lupo. They can't hear me. Now you can hear me. Okay, good. Now you can hear me. Okay. Yay! Hello, Susan Lamica. Hi, everybody. Hello, fellow seekers. Oh, that was scary. If you can't hear me, then there goes the whole show. And welcome to the Mystery Guide, fellow seekers. I'm glad you're here. Every week we journey into one of history's greatest mysteries. And tonight certainly is one of them. Susan Crook kind of pushed for this topic, and then I had people vote on it. And until I got into it, I didn't realize the extent of what's been going on for the past so many years on this case. It's been a very difficult case as far as grasping any real research that makes sense or that's cohesive. So grab yourself a cuppa. We're not here to prove or disprove anything, but we are here to explore through the timeless symbolism of tarot. And because of the delicate, people say they can barely hear me, so I'm not sure why. Let's see, the volume here is up. Come on in, I have a tech here. They can barely hear me. Hello, hello.
Hi.
My handsome, lovely son is here to the rescue. Leave that there. Okay. That's the topic. Okay. And speakers. My tech is here. I'm going to try to do that while I'm waiting. And maybe you can too. Say a little prayer for Madeleine McCann. We're going to get into the whole story about it. And let me light a candle for her.
Oops, say something.
Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. Ooh. Can you hear me now? Somebody let me know. Hello. Aroha. Just doing it old school. Thanks for joining. Let me know. I can't either. Okay, we're working on the volume here.
It's soft. Yeah, I got that. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Check.
Check 1,
Hello.
2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. And I might go off and come back on. Would that be a big difficulty for everybody? See, Chris Luxton didn't get rolled. Okay, you can hear me now. Susan can hear me. Melissa Eggers can barely hear me. Just doing it old school said better. We have to be able to hear because this is a real gut wrenching. I spent a lot of time on this program for this information. Everybody, yeah, that's better. You got it? Okay. I lit a candle for Madeleine McCann, and if you can, all say a prayer. Thank you for being patient with the volume. Thank God Michael is still in the house for me. What am I going to do? Got to figure this out. And there we go. Little gain. And that's going to be even better. Now I know why so many people are holding those little microphones. I'm going to get my decks out, get a few ready, and while I am, I want to just go have you, if you haven't seen the post in my feed, the post is there with the timeline, and it was very interesting. We have many contemporaneous accounts, reconstructions of the facts, official documents with different results, and sometimes, in some cases, in the police file, there's actually a missing hour of investigation. Now, I looked into that, and I did discover if there's third party that can be. Oh, thank you. Okay, everybody said if it's going back and forth, then that could be on your end, or it could be the internet. I think everybody else is cool, and we'll see what happens. Okay. So our investigation, according to the press and released police files, I was surprised to see there was still unexplained discrepancies. In fact, I worked with AI on this, and as I asked the questions, AI came back and was surprised that, gee, I'm surprised to find this, but there's a missing hour, or there's, the phone records were fine with the cell phones activity. It was normal, but the landline showed an hour of missing documents. And now I looked into that, and it looked like it was about an hour missing. Now we're also going to look into, the different time accounts just from the very beginning. What the kids went to bed, we have it according to, everybody. They got back to the apartment at 5:30, and they were in bed by 7:30. But the only two witnesses were the parents for that. Parents said they left after they had, the kids went to bed at 7:30, and they had to walk across the parking lot down onto the main road and back into the grounds to go to the tapas restaurant, which was only, was it 60 meters away from the apartment, 50, 60 meters. So even that, I guess, depending on where they sat at the table. So it very, very shady, as with all those people, why there were facts missing. So we know the children were put to bed at 7:30, according to the parents. According to the parents, they said they left around 8:30, 8:35. They were at the restaurant because they only had to go across the parking lot onto the main road back into the restaurant. They met their 5 friends there. They called them the Tapas 7 because they frequented vacationing together, and I guess they had been at this place in Portugal together before. And then we get into it. So what's documented? The children returned from their activities, their nanny, they went to bed at 7:30, parents bathed, had a glass of wine. The first discrepancy is the parents say they left just after 8:30. The police file reconstruction places them at the restaurant at 8:35. But other witnesses remember different arrival times. So it's a documented timing issue. So I want your questions, but I thought, in lighting this candle and seeing Madeleine's picture, and I couldn't, and as much as I wanted to, I couldn't ask my other cards the question because I didn't want to interfere with our investigation. But the first question I feel we need to ask is, Madeleine alive, right? Is she alive? Is she even on this earth? So let's see. They haven't found a body. The other reports about, there are some conspiracy theories that the father belonged to a cult. I dove into that for a while, the Red Shoe Society and all that. And I couldn't get any aspect other than the conspiracy theory sites. And I wouldn't go into the dark kind of stuff because I don't want to have nightmares any longer. But there's no factual evidence, nothing factual on that. The other theory is about, one is she was abducted and one was she was, she was abducted by a pedophile who was in the area at the time and has since just been released from prison for another charge of rape. So pretty dark stuff, But I'm going to ask first, is Madeleine McCann, our beautiful child there with the, I forgot what they call it, columba, something with the eye, it's something, there's a spot on one of her eyes. It's very visible. And that was the other discrepancy. Someone saw someone who looked like Ghislaine Maxwell 2 years later with a child who was covering her eye, which someone would do with that condition. So let's see. Is Madeleine alive? Well, this is pretty interesting. My first card is the Ten of Swords reversed, and I would say no. But then I got the Knight of Cups, Two of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and Three of Wands. So I asked yes, no of these decks. Maybe I should have said it out loud. I'm going to ask another deck. Is Madeleine on this earth? I would like 5 cards. Reversed is positive, and I'm sorry, reversed is negative, upright is positive. Upright is positive, reversed is a no. She is not of this earth. Upright is yes, that's what I should have been saying. Reverse is no. I got on early and then we had volume issues, so I apologize for that. And I didn't get to play the theme music, but that's okay. Maybe I'll do it at the end. Nothing ever goes according to plan, right? Is Madeleine on this earth? Let's start there, and then please put your questions in. I know my friend, she's not my personal friend, but I think of her as a friend. I love her. Shanta of Mystical Fortune has been using dowsing rods very, very nice, and I just don't want to copy somebody. All right, that's a no. She's not of this earth. That's a no. She's not of this earth. The Nine of Wands is never give up. Right smack dab in the middle. Two of Cups, upright. So I got a 3 out of 5. That no, she is not. But why are they giving me this little glimmer of hope that maybe she's possibly alive? So we're going to proceed anyway, and then maybe we'll get more of the story as we go. Our prayers, as I said, I lit a candle. If you're just joining, I lit a candle for Madeleine. And whether she's on earth or beyond, we send her our love and light. So the first discrepancy that we came about was the parents and their arrival at the restaurant. And so is the parents' arrival at the restaurant a cause for concern? Was there any suspicious activity prior to their leaving? So you got to figure the kids were there from 5:30 until at least 8:25. The parents were there with the kids, because they're saying they did not get to the restaurant until about 8:35. So I guess that's why they were under a lot of scrutiny in the beginning, but nothing was proven of their guilt. I did read in some reports they found some blood behind the couch near the window, and that didn't go anywhere. And they found DNA of hers in the rental car, which was explained as once they moved her clothes out of the hotel room, her DNA would be on them, so they couldn't make that a definitive, okay, she was in the car and in the trunk. They couldn't claim that. So is there cause for alarm about the parents? Was there any suspicious activity prior to the parents leaving? And I get a no on that. Okay, no, there was not. Look at all the swords, though. Like, there was a lot, it looks like there was a lot of heated discussion about something, or there was some, burden was lifted. There was some heavy discussion about something. Eight of Swords, being stuck. Seven of Swords, Knight of Cups, not having the opportunity. So I gotta know, there's nothing really, there may have been, nobody heard any arguing, nobody heard anything, crazy or anything. So if you want, start asking your questions now. I'm going to continue so they supposedly got there at 8:35. Other witnesses said later. At 9:05, the first check is by the father, Jerry. He says he saw the twins. He says Sean and Emily, and he assumed Madeleine was asleep. It was quiet. And please put your questions in all caps. Yes, in fact, there are some cases, Gary, where they are looking into this as a possible child trafficking from the same group, possibly. They were trying to tie the cases together, Madeleine and John Benet Ramsey. So that I couldn't go down that rabbit hole. I said maybe we'll do John Benet Ramsey at another week. Not next week, because I need a break from this heaviness. We need to go back to the moon or something. This was really hard to do. We will. I'm going to add John Benet to the list for sure, but just not yet. They could be tied together. We'll see. Let's see what we uncover here. So, are we correct in believing that Jerry's word that Madeleine was in her bed at that first check? Because at 9:05, he said he figured she was asleep. He assumed it because it was quiet, but he could not see her. The bedroom door was partially open. Now that's alluded to a couple of times, and that the bedroom door was open. And I'm saying, well, if God, I would never leave my child, but if I ever did, I would make sure the door was locked and bolted, and I needed, like a chainsaw to break in. But they said the bedroom door was open, not the apartment door, the bedroom door. So he peeked in, it was quiet, he figured the kids were sleeping. There was also, because they were doctors, people said maybe they drugged the kids, because she was asked that question, but she pleaded the fifth. She was asked 49 questions, and being lawyered up, they only let her answer one out of the 40, or, her lawyers only let her answer one. She pleaded the fifth to everything, so not much from her. So he saw the twins. He figured they were all asleep. He noticed the bedroom door was partially open. He went to the bathroom, and then he went back to the restaurant. So are we correct in believing Jerry's word that Madeleine was in her bed at that first check? And we got a yes. All right. Now, the second check was by his friend and colleague, Matthew, also a doctor, also at the table. And this is interesting. And I got a funny vibe on Matthew. So let's see. Matthew Oldfield, police material contains a different recollection. Timeline 1. At 9:30, Matthew checked the McCann apartment while checking on his own child. His statement recollections differ regarding exactly how he conducted the check and what he could see. So his story kept changing, which if you're in shock, and I got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt here, that's going to happen. You're in shock. You can't believe what you're second guessing yourself. The door was open. He had a visual on the kids. The second timeline has Matthew at 9:05. 9:05, why? If Jerry was there at the first one, why the second check, 9:30? Was it 9:05, 9:25, or 9:30? So they have three different time accounts for when Matthew Oldfield visited the kids. Now, some of that could be initial reporting by the police, and somebody wrote down the wrong time. So All right, I'll give him that benefit. But he described the check the same way, that he kind of assumed the kids were, nobody went in and tucked them in, gave them a kiss on the forehead. There was none of that. They just peeked in. Okay, it sounds quiet. They must all be good. So, should we look into Matthew? When Matthew checked on the kids, was Madeleine in her bed? So, was she even there at 9:30? Okay, so the first check was 9:05. The dad said he saw her. Matthew, the friend, went at 9:30. We'll give him that benefit, 9:25 or 9:30. And he assumed they were sleeping. It was quiet. So when Matthew checked on the kids, was Madeleine in her bed? 5 cards upright is positive. That's a good question. I will ask that. Just doing it old school, I will ask that question next. So I'm asking about Jerry, and I got a yes. Are we correct in believing... Oh, when Matthew checked on the kids, was Madeleine in her bed? And I got a yes. Okay, so Madeleine was in her bed then. 3 out of 5. You know what's interesting to me? I'm not getting 5 out of 5. I like 5 out of 5. I don't like 3 out of 5. I'm going to ask now, was there any foul play at that time? And let's ask, I didn't want to disturb Madeleine if she, that's why I'm hesitant even now. Old school. If this kid is not here and in spirit. So Madeleine McCann, was there foul play by 9:30? Was there any foul play now at 9:30? A referee. A referral. 1, 2. That's a yes. Oh, and that's a betrayal. So that's by 9:30. We got some foul play. All right, I'm going to pull out the true crime cards. And there's the Knight of Cups again. Who is the Knight of Cups? Anybody want to look up Matthew Oldfield's date of birth? And how old was he in 2007? I'm going to ask Madeleine, if you are in spirit or if you're picking up this vibration, I have asked that any energies around Madeleine help us tonight. Can you shed some light on what the foul play was about? What was the foul play about? I'm going to pull 5 cards to... And can everyone see all the cards? Crime of passion. Homicide. Abuse, neglect. Oh yeah, that's a given, because sorry, in a public place you don't leave your kids under in a hotel room at that age. If they had a 15, 16-year-old brother or sister, okay, lock the doors, you're in charge, here's the phone. But 3 little ones, the oldest being, that's not a good thing. Alive. It did come out like this. Drugs, poison. All right, so what I'm getting right now, and what I'm what I did feel when I was reading her about the testimony, I was feeling there were drugs involved in some way. Isn't that an interesting desert? I was feeling it was an abduction. I wasn't getting, murder, like he took her to the beach, raped her, and dumped her in the ocean. I just didn't get that. And I'm not getting that here. A crime of passion, abuse, neglect, drugs, poison. And this is not a program to accuse anyone. I want you to draw your own conclusions. Ask me the questions. I'll ask the cards. And I don't want to work to assign guilt. The mystery guide is to explore the possibilities of what could be the real story. The phone records, we're picking up at not foul play right around 9:30, and we're gonna get into who was it, who was involved. Somebody try to find out how old Matthew, what his sign is, when he was born. So phone records 9 to 10 p.m. There is an analytical annex missing from the public available material, and I got a dead end on that. So I'm going to ask, are the police covering up something or covering for someone? He was in his 30s. Yeah, so he could have been the Knight of Cups. I'm just wondering if he was Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces. Because then I want to look more into him. Who knows, or what these people were into. Who knows? Because nobody could answer anything. Everything is like shut down. And supposedly, if a detailed analytical annex is missing, it's because a third party could be it could hurt them in some way. It could have something to do with even security for the country. So it could have been an official, had some phone calls going on. It could have been some military stuff was going on. Who knows? It's all either redacted or it's just gone. So are the police of Portugal covering up something or covering for someone in the Madeleine McCann case? Were they covering up something? Maybe they were covering up their own ineptness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I do have a yes on that as well. Again, a 3 out of 5. It's like somebody better spill the beans. Somebody better tell the story. They were hiding. They were protecting themselves. So I feel like this was a screw up. Was this just a screw up on the police part, and then they were trying to cover their tracks? They couldn't. There was too much going on, and they couldn't really handle it. I had the 8 of Wands underlined card. So there was too much going on. They couldn't handle it. Maybe they didn't have enough people on the case initially to get enough information, because the cook saw the group there at one point. The wait staff had a different story. The other tables had different stories. Yes, that's going to be that's where I really feel that was too much of a coincidence, that Ghislaine Maxwell sighting. And they discounted that only because her hair, and I don't feel in this day and age you can do that. I mean, people are wearing full face masks. We've all seen Mission Impossible, and we've all seen our President Biden and our President Trump. We know that it's not always, you can see things. You always, when there's a stand-in and not the real president. So divine serendipity, divine intervention, thorns, a miracle, encounter, intuition. I'm asking about the police. Let me ask true crime. Were the police covering up something? There was somebody called Jane Tanner, and she saw a man walking to the beach with holding a child in pajamas and bare feet. And it turned out they were following that lead, but it turned out it was just a tourist with their daughter, and probably holding on to her for dear life. Oop, mixed up. Where did that card come from? Neighborhood. All right, the neighborhood cops. Surveillance. Yeah, wasn't there any surveillance at that time? Evidently not. There's no mention of cameras anywhere. So why did this card come up? And did the police have something? Mind control. Man-made disaster. So we asked about the cops. Spouse, partner. Right away, they went after the parents. And I think that tunnel vision in the beginning, and from what I read, they missed a lot of things that they should have asked in the very beginning about external opportunities. That pedophile living in the area, that he was a known pedophile from Germany. And, so they were focused on the parents. So that could be why they had to cover up some of their reporting, or some of their files. Things don't match up. So the police files, which were released, I believe it was a year later, I think I posted that date. The police files, I'm sure they worked on them, you know what I mean? They fixed them somewhat. So let's see. When the other thing was, when did the people know? And here's an important thing I found. The original police documentation isn't even consistent about the actual disappearance time. The mother said she went in at 10 o'clock, and that's when 10 p.m., and that's when she saw Kate Madeleine wasn't in her bed. The mother's name was Kate. Kate goes back, lets everybody know at 10. So if it took her a few minutes to walk to, so maybe 10:05, she told everybody. However, the cook, the chef, said there was a big ruckus and people were, talking about it, looking for her at around a different time earlier, and like before 10, 9:20 or 9:40. So there's no time. Really, they're not sure about when she was actually gone. And like we saw, it was right around that first visit by the friend, Matt, that the cards are saying that's when she was missing. So I'm going to ask just this one question, and then I'm going to get into the Ghislaine Maxwell. And let me see, backtrack. Let me see if you have any other questions that I missed. Aroha, why didn't they get a babysitter to look after the children? They were with a babysitter or daycare, a nanny. You know how you put them in. I've done that. We used to travel a lot with my husband, and my son would go into those daycare things. But they took a picture of me. They took a picture of my husband. We all had bracelets. I could look where there was a computer thing, so I could just look where he was in the big play area they were in. So there were always eyes on him, either mine or, he was in a controlled environment. And if he went out of that environment, a buzzer, I'd be alerted immediately. So there are those places, and evidently that's where they were from 5:30 to 7:30. Yeah. Why not pay the girl to come and sit in the room? And there's 7 adults, and evidently Matthew had his child. He had one child in another apartment. I don't know about the other people, but that's 4 kids at least, right? So get one babysitter, put all the kids together. It's shady. these are people who are not, low IQ. These are doctors. So you're right. This is shady. Now I have to put the intention in the cards. Being haphazard here, getting all riled up. Is it important to know the time of Madeleine's missing? Was she missing, like the final report says, way before 10 o'clock? 5 cards, yes or no. Was she missing well before 10 o'clock when the mother reported her missing? Was she already gone? That's interesting. That's the first time I got 5 cards, and this is a big no. Now that just blows everything for me, what I was thinking. But, okay. Was she gone moments before the mother came back to the room? Was it moments before the mother came back to the room? Was somebody watching and timed it just right? And was she gone moments before the mother went back to the room, supposedly at 10 o'clock? Was it moments before? So we've got 9:20 to 9:30 for Matthew, and then 10 o'clock for the mother. So it was somewhere in there, and that's a big yes. Oh yeah, look at that. 4 out of 5. Why didn't they get a babysitter to look after the children? I'm going to ask the crime cards. Why didn't they get a babysitter? 3 cards, please. Why didn't they get a babysitter to look after the children? Were they hiding something? Why didn't they? Was this a plan? Why didn't they get a babysitter to look after the children? Were they hiding something? Was this a plan? It seems that way, and I could see why the police thought so. It's like everything's pointing to it. Healing. Well, this could be with the doctors. They were doctors, yeah. Are they involved? Oh, a boat. Oh, now this is getting interesting. And that was the other, they say that she was trafficked, she was taken, she was put on a boat and taken, and that would make sense if, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein, that whole human trafficking ring were involved. There's the beach. Wow. Hidden. Oh. I've never even seen that card. Whoa. Assassination. Why the assassination card? Why the assassination card? Was this about... Here we go. Is the big question. Did someone in that group or affiliated with that group, did someone affiliated with the parents take this child? Did someone affiliated with the parents take this child? 5 cards up here. Did someone affiliated with the parents take this child? Someone with a lot of money. And that, my friends, is a yes. Looks like she was bought. The other thing I looked for and couldn't find was if there was any big debt with Jerry, gambling debt or some kind of big debt. I'm sure being doctors they had debt, but maybe not. Okay, so we got someone affiliated with the family. Now let's get to that Ghislaine Maxwell question. So was the child seen with Ghislaine Maxwell? Was that child Madeleine? Was that sighting, let's start here. Was that sighting supposedly of Ghislaine Maxwell? And Ghislaine Maxwell is very, was trying to say, yeah, but a lot of people, everybody has a doppelganger, but why in that instance? And she was annoyed because that person, the tourist, was following behind, and the person who looked like Ghislaine was getting very agitated and kept telling the child to turn around because the child was looking at the tourist who reported this. And when you see something suspicious like that, and I've been in that situation a few times, where I actually had to call the police and say, "This is what I just saw, and I think there's something going on. Can you check it out?" And twice there was something going on, and I was doing sales training, so I had my eyes on the mall, and and I caught people doing things they were not legal, and luring children. One was luring children. One was a stealing of using kids to steal clothes and stuff. So you got to pay attention. But when you see that, you see the way the adult is asking, that's a big tell. So this person was aggravated. So was that actually Ghislaine Maxwell? Who that person saw? Was that person Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes or no? 5 cards, please. That's interesting. 7 of Cups, but reversed. Looking across the ocean with the plan. A job to do. Yes. Yes. With not good intentions. Yes. So we got a yes, that was Ghislaine. And was the child Madeleine? Was Madeleine alive? It was 2009, I believe. And was Madeleine still alive then? Because, it's been a while. We don't know we're going to ask again at the end here. Was that Madeleine with the woman supposedly was that woman Ghislaine Maxwell? If so, was that Madeleine with her? Was that Madeleine with her? We said yes, it was Ghislaine. Was that actually Madeleine McCann with her? Is that who the woman saw? Oof. Now, if I were just going to pick one card, that would be like, that's a big yes. There's another yes. That's another yes. Well, that's a yes, 3 out of 5. And this is the Knight of Swords again. It's funny how now, remember the week with the 7 of Cups with the aliens? It seems like we're getting the Knight of Swords, the Knight of, a lot of knights here. A lot of, this was an opportunity. Something went awry here, though. I don't think it went according to plan. Something went kerflooey. What was it? Oh, look at the underlying energy. 10 of Swords reversed. So what it looked like, they could have ended her thinking if they were spotted, that was it. They didn't want anyone investigating that. And all of a sudden, people were discounting it because all of a sudden she had long hair, but she had the same kind of bangs. Now, I know I have some hair pieces, and I can put them on, and I can leave my bangs. I can leave this. There's all different kinds of hair pieces you can use to make your hair longer or shorter or curlier, and they were around in 2007, 2009. So I will not discount that. Was Madeleine taken to Epstein Island? Well, I saw the desert, and according to the reports, according to the reports, allegedly that was Ghislaine, and allegedly that was Madeleine, and our cards validated that just now. She was either taken to like Spain, or I saw the desert with the true crime, but let's ask that. That's a good question. Was Madeleine taken to Epstein Island? She went by boat, and that was easy to do from Portugal. Hello. Go right across the pond there, right? Was Madeleine taken to Epstein Island? I want to do a few places. No. That's a no. 3 out of 5. Somebody paid a lot of money for her. I'm wondering if somebody in that group was involved in some way with the human trafficking. They needed the money for some reason. But there's nothing in the investigation that's leading the investigation to anyone. But say you owe the mafia $1 million. You're not going to go to Citizens Bank or, the credit union to take out $1 million loan to pay off the mob. You're going to go to somebody as, unreputable as the mob. Where's Zorro Ranch? I'm going to ask, was Madeleine taken to the UK? Because I believe that's where the Ghislaine sighting was. Was Madeleine taken first? Was Madeleine taken to the UK? I don't want to do anything in order and mess up the investigation. Was Madeleine taken at any point in time? Was she taken to the UK? That's a big no. Was Madeleine taken to Spain? That was another mention. Was Madeleine taken to Spain? Big no. Was Madeleine taken to someplace that has desert terrain? Was Madeleine taken somewhere? Because she was a little blonde girl. They'd pay a lot of money for blondes with specific eye colors. That's what I've read. Was Madeleine taken to someplace with desert terrain? And then I'll ask about Zorro Ranch. Oh, Italy. That's a good idea too. There's the Knight of Swords again, and yes, someplace that has desert. Was she taken to? Where do we want to go? Italy, Australia. I got desert terrain with the true crime cards. Was she taken to Saudi Arabia? Hey, calm down. Was she taken to Saudi Arabia? No. 2 upright. Was Zorro Ranch is another place owned by Epstein. I think it's New Mexico or Nevada. Oh, that's right here in the States. Oh, well, lucky us. Okay. I'm going to do 3 rows. Italy, Australia, or Zorro Ranch. Italy, Australia, Zorro Ranch. I've got someplace with desert, so, it could be someplace like Egypt or anywhere in parts of Africa where there's some desert terrain. Australia. Okay, so I'll do Italy, Australia, Zorro Ranch. I'll do 555. Italy. No. Australia. No. Zorro Ranch. Look at that. There's the Six of Swords in the boat, all covered up. Ooh. Yes, on the Zorro Ranch. 3 out of 5. I'm sure there's more than one place. They farm babies, as pregnant moms said. Zorro Ranch. There's a question there. Were the parents involved in cults, sex, swinging parties? Allegedly might be someone they had associated with. Let's ask True Crime that. Were the parents, Susan Crook, involved in cults, sects, that's a hard word to say, swinging parties? Allegedly might be someone, or anything satanic? That's a big thing in Hollywood, all that satanic ritual stuff, sadly to say, but I'm glad Hollywood is falling apart, and that's why Hollywood's falling apart. Were the parents involved in cults, sex, swinging parties, or anyone they were associated with? Were they associated with anything on the dark side that would involve trafficking or using children in cults, for sacrifice, for, anything that children should not be used for? I can't even say it. Intuition. We're all thinking it. I know we are. I can feel you guys. Neighborhood. It's their group. I'm thinking this is going to be a yes. Marriage, wedding. Look at that upside down. I'm going to leave them upside down, right side up. Spouse, partner. Yeah, why did that come in upside down? Missing. Yeah. That's a yes. Lies. Justice. Social media. Water. Again. Has to do with that. And it was a man who initially took her. Now, Christian Bruckner was the guy they just let out, the pedophile who was in the area. He's like the main suspect right now. The parents got away with it because they pleaded the fifth. That's so common nowadays, isn't it? Maybe we should read about the vaccine at some point. So, Christian Bruckner. Just show me Christian Bruckner. Did Christian Bruckner have anything to do with it? Did he have anything to do with this crime? Show us the story. I'm not doing 5 cards. Whatever the story was, Christian Bruckner. Yeah, he's been in prison. He just got out. Dismemberment. Oh, dear God, I don't want to know that. Cleanup. Debt. I knew it. Somebody had burial. All right, let's get to asking Madeleine now. So, pendulum. Madeleine McCann, are you not of this earth anymore? Are you not of this earth anymore? Please show me a yes. That would be correct. Please show me a no. It should be horizontal. And please show me a I don't know or we're not meant to know. And that should be a clockwise. I'm getting all kinds of electrical charges through my hand. Is Madeleine McCann, are you of this earth? It's a no. Did you know the person who took you? Had you ever seen them before with your parents? Do you know the person who took you? Did you ever see this person before with your parents? All right, I got an I don't know. Was the person a man who took you? Did a man take you? Ask questions, guys. Did a man take you? Yes. Did the man take you at the time Matthew Oldfield went to check on you? And that yes got stronger. So were you gone before your mom came to check on you? Okay, so the pendulum is agreeing with the cards. It was earlier. It wasn't, right before the mother found her. She was missing right around the time. She went missing when Matthew Oldfield saw her. Were you taken by boat? I don't know. Were you covered up, disguised, or hidden? Were you hidden in any way? I don't know. Were you drugged? Were you drugged? Yes. Was it your mother who gave you the drugs? Yes, and that can't be validated because there's no body to autopsy. Are you buried somewhere in one piece? Is your body intact in one piece? I don't know. All right. Will we ever find out who that person was who took you? No. Was that person affiliated with Ghislaine Maxwell? Do you know that? Were you with Ghislaine Maxwell, or were you with Ghislaine Maxwell in 2009? Stopping. Were you with Ghislaine Maxwell in 2009? I'm getting a yes, guys. It's a, okay. Were you taken to other countries? Were you taken to more than one country? Yes. Um, were you used in any kind of were you used in any way that was not okay with you? Yes. Were there any rituals which took place around you? Were you involved in any kinds of rituals in any way? And that's a yes. Okay. I think I've heard enough. Hold on. Let me see if there are any other questions. And Susan Crook. It was suggested she was gone a couple of days before. Well, let's ask that question because she was she was seen at the daycare. They said they described what they did, the kids did. So they described the kids were there in the daycare from 5:30 to 7:30. Did they pay off those people? Could be. We can still ask that question. Yeah, and that's what it looks like, Aroha. And I feel very strongly. I'm going to ask right now if she was disposed of after she was cited in that 2009, right after 2009. Susan Crook, could you pick a number, please, between 7 and 17? I am asking, is it possible, Madeleine, that you were gone days before you were reported, not hours before, but days before? Were you gone days before you were reported missing? I think the kids would say something. Yes, it's very possible. 4 out of 5. So was the story of the daycare 5:30 to 7:30? What's surprising to me is, I know I worked in hotels for a long time. In 2007, there were cameras in a lot of places already. There was security systems, especially if this was like a nice hotel, a nice resort area. Now, it was Portugal, so I don't know. I've never been to Portugal. I don't know how advanced or how far back old school it was, but they had a tapas restaurant. I would, on the grounds. There were doctors there. Must have been a nice place. They had apartments, they call them, nearby. So, yeah, her name is mentioned in the episode. It's all redacted. I looked that up. Everything's redacted. The case is, why it's in the Epstein files is because of the sighting of Ghislaine. So old school, they had a report that there was a sighting of Ghislaine Maxwell, and it's in the Epstein files that it was reported Ghislaine was there, but they were saying no, it wasn't. Look at the hair; it's totally. She had long hair. This is her 2 days later in Canada. It was Canada. And, let's ask, was she ever taken into Canada? Was Madeleine ever taken into Canada? So, Susan, pick a number, between 7 and 17. And then just doing it old school, whatever number Susan comes up with, I want you to find that icon. Who is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Was she ever taken into Canada? No. So if Ghislaine was sighted with her, if you're sighted with, a missing child, you're going to ditch the kid. You're going to make sure you get taken off somewhere. Number 10. Okay, just doing it old school. Who's the 10th? Who's the 10th icon there? Okay. I got off to Canada. Ghislaine Maxwell, I lost the question. What was the question? Couldn't wait to ask it. I'm getting used, abused, and then discarded. How long was she alive for? Yeah. Madeleine. Did they let you go right after that Ghislaine Maxwell sighting? Did they get rid of you right after the Maxwell sighting? That would have been 2 years, so she would have been 5. Did they get rid of you at the age of 5? Did they get rid of you at the age of 5? Oh, is that what you mean by countdown by years? Okay. Did they get rid of you at the age of 5? I got 2 yes, 2 no. No. Did they get rid of you at the age of 6? I missed 6. Absolutely trafficked. Did they get rid of you at the age of 6? And you saw the gory details in the true crime cards. Did they get rid of you at the age of 6? To me, that's going to be oh yeah, that's a yes. 6. Between 6 and 7. Between the ages of 6 and 7. All these knights, huh? And the knights just keep showing up. Knights, the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. Between 6 and 7. So we got, the parents are, to me, the story should add up. At some point, they're doctors. They're used to documenting everything. They have to recall instances. That's, their brains work that way. Why are there so many holes in the story? Why are there so many holes in the story? And that could be maybe planned to confuse the investigators. Absolutely. I've known a lot of crooks in my time. Unfortunately, but I have. And then they would tell me stories about when they got arrested or how they got out of it, and it was always make the situation so chaotic that the investigator or the detectives they can't keep track, or they lose their patience. They get a little crazy about it. So interesting, very interesting. She's in the Epstein files. Number 10. So many unknowns, so sad and disturbing. Yeah, say a prayer for that child, because I'll admit it. I think you guys can tell, like, I'm still stuttering. I had a hard time with this, and I was addicted to it, and I kept digging and digging, and I have pages and pages of notes I took and things. But let me see if I missed any questions I had. I have to go back to Matthew, only because intuitively he bothered me. His story bothered me, and I just felt like, well, all right, he went to check on his child, but why didn't, if I were out to dinner with my friends and their kid was in one room and my kid was in the next room, I would say, I'll go check at 9 o'clock, you go check at 9:15, I'll go check at 9:30, and I'll check on your kid too. So that wasn't done. It's like the mother and father, Kate and Jerry, just went and checked on their kids. They never mentioned, in anything that I've read, they never mentioned checking on the other child, Matthew's child. But Matthew checked on Madeleine. Is there a connection? Of course, I've known Crooks. You're from Rhode Island. I'm from Rhode Island. I lived in Brooklyn. I babysat for people in the Gotti family. I mean, I've been around Gary. The New Jersey crowd, the Florida crowd. They're all in Florida now, the ones that were still alive. Let's see. I know a guy in Naples. I know a guy. That's the thing. Hey, I was always safe though. Nobody would bother me. Is there a connection? Show me Matthew Oldfield. Show me Matthew Oldfield. I'm going to lay off the parents because, they closed the book on it. They just pleaded the fifth, and they were like, look elsewhere. And they had a lot of clout, evidently, and enough money to keep their heads above. They hired a private investigator for this. So I'm getting a no this time with Matthew. Is there anything else we don't know, Madeleine? I'm going to pull a fresh deck. Madeleine McCann, is there anything you want us to know about what happened or who we should look at? Who should we look at? Is there a money connection to Matthew? If she was sold, there had to be a large amount of money going to someone. Yeah, we talked about that, and there's no documentation of anyone, because that money they wouldn't put it in a bank account or buy a boat right after that. No, if anyone has any money, it's cash in a safe on an island somewhere. But no. Who was number 10? Who was number 10? And whatever you say number 10 is what number 10 is. I don't want to get into anything about a contest that I'm giving away my time. I want it to be easy peasy, so no questioning anything. I appreciate that you guys are doing the counting. Who is number 10? So we think she was let go between 6 and 7. And I'm still suspicious about the group, the Tapas 7 they call themselves. They were called because they were all at dinner at 7. But there were so many conflicting stories in the timeline. Even a few minutes. We're only talking about 7:30 to 10 o'clock. And that's a pretty significant, and like I said, they're not people who are low IQ. These are doctors. They're used to documenting things. They're used to be paying attention to time. They must live by the clock because they have to get from, that's how they're built. 10 of Swords is the first card. So I asked Madeleine, is there anything else we should know? So she was unalived here. And there was somebody big. It was somebody big and important who got her, who paid for her. Somebody very big, important, and obviously evil. She lost her childhood. She lost her childhood, her connection to her siblings. The kids didn't wake up. The twins didn't wake up. They didn't see anything. Were they all drugged? Maybe we need to ask that question. Party purposes, huh? It was all about the parties. And then, 4 of Swords reversed. And then, somebody paid for her. She lost her childhood. She was used in a celebration of some sort. And then, 4 Swords, you go 4 Swords, you either get off the bed, it's either a sick bed or it's a death bed, and this is unaliving. Yep, this was a big plan. This was planned. Like somebody said it, could it have been, was she taken ahead of time? And the only way I could see that that's possible is if a lot of people were paid off. And I know that's possible. That is possible. But they are documented as having her in the play area with the nanny from 5:30 to 7:30. Nobody broke the nanny. So either she was paid a lot of money to lie, or that's validated. But this was a plan. This was all planned. No doubt in my mind after reading all this. There's no doubt this was planned. World reversed. Everything came to a dead halt for this girl. King of Cups. So I was suspect of a Knight of Cups, and here's the King of Cups. What was Jeffrey Epstein's birthday? Anybody know? King of Cups. This even kind of looks like him, doesn't it? King of Cups reversed. Funny, and usually the King of Cups to me is sometimes a doctor. So is this King of Cups a family member to Madeleine? Is this King of Cups reversed a family member to Madeleine? Is this her dad or Matthew, or is this somebody in the family? She answered with the pendulum. She didn't know, but she did say, I was drugged. So she didn't even know she was taken. They probably put her in a bag and took her away. Maybe somebody got cut. The blood wasn't behind the couch. There was a little blood. So maybe somebody got nicked going in and out of the window, if that's how they went. King of Cups. Was this King of Cups related to Madeleine in any way? 3 cards, yes or no. Oh, geez. I got a yes, and I got the Knight of Wands in the middle. Was her dad the mastermind of this? Was he the one responsible for selling her? Was her dad the one responsible for selling her? Maybe the mother didn't know anything. Was her dad the one responsible for selling her? No. Here's that 3 of Cups again. Hey, my friend has this kid, fits the bill. Was someone in the group responsible for selling her? Was someone in the group responsible for selling her? You have a best friend, you're not going to question the best friend. He went to check, he found her okay, he has a kid of his own. Maybe this kid, because she has a special eye and she's so darn cute, was worth more. Is it somebody in the group? Yes, there's the Knight of Wands again. Sag, Aries, Leo. Somebody paid big bucks for her. She was out of it most of the time. Maybe that's a blessing, God. Thank you. Drugged. They drug the kids. Use them. And then discard. Yep, Ace of Wands reversed. And King of Pentacles. So there's men involved through this whole thing. Big, powerful men. Kings and Knights. Kings and Knights keep showing up. Underlying energy. The 10 of Pentacles. Somebody needed the money. Look at this. Damn. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Somebody needed the money. My friend has this little girl. I can arrange that you can take her. And maybe the parents were totally innocent, as they claim. With this friend, Had an in, knew where they were going to be, what they were doing. He knew the timeline. And there we go. Who's the winner of tonight's getting in the... Yes, this is very disturbing. It looks like she was sold. Yep, that's what she's saying. That's what we're figuring out here. That's right. The bad people that do stuff like this, that is its own currency. Oh, God, yeah. How long was this planned in advance? Oh, that's a great question. Or was it blackmail? Oh, that's another good question. I didn't even think of blackmail. All right, let's how are we doing on time? All right, I'm over. You guys in? I need to know who was it Susan Crook who's number 10? Susan Crook, number 10. Hey, congratulations, Susan Crook. You are in the running for the free reading. Like Trump does the 5th, or was it the Clintons? Well, everybody's done the 5th. Now Fauci's doing the 5th. The Clintons, well, Epstein had Bill's picture up on the wall in the blue dress, the infamous blue dress. They did a lot of canoodling. So did Hillary. There's a lot in there on the Epstein files, but gee, that doesn't make it into the media that much. But there's a lot more there. They were carousing with the Trumps, and then at some point, Epstein kept stealing his staff, the masseuses, and Trump threw him out of the club. Trump told the police that he was a bad character. So something had to happen. Those guys that are powerful like that, they are above the law because they own the law. I used to see that with the mob. Like, okay, the guy got off. Why? Because his son was the lawyer. The other guy's son was the judge or daughter. In one case, the daughter was the judge. So the detectives, you can't trust anybody. And you certainly can't trust the media. So we determined it was between ages of 6 and 7. She was kept for a little while. And it seemed like soon after that Ghislaine sighting, they washed that and they got rid of her. It was too risky. She was, according to the cards, allegedly sold. And was it blackmail? That's the next question. Was this blackmail? Oh, you picked number 10. Okay, so who's the 10th person? Who is the 10th person in the feed? And it could be like, see how your name is SSSSS. It could be like that. You don't skip. Just the 10th icon. Who is the 10th icon? Was Madeleine sold because someone was being blackmailed? 5 cards. Upright is yes, reverse is no. Was Madeleine sold because someone was being blackmailed? That's such a good question. And that could explain the hour of missing records from the landline, because if there was a third party, yeah, she was in the same room with the twins, and supposedly the twins didn't wake up at all. Now, I know some little kids. I mean, I had fire engines and everything else, and my nephew slept right through it, where my niece was wide awake. I mean, kids are different with, some sleep like through all kinds of noise racket. It wouldn't disturb them. This is interesting, though. So far, it's 2 and 2. was being blackmailed and needed big money. Big money. 3 yes. They were crazy not knowing what to do. Crazy. I wonder if their child was threatened. We're going to take your kid if you don't pay up. And he said, no, take that kid. They got twins. What do they need a third kid for? Right? Wow. All right. So now we have blackmail on the table. The plot thickens, Susan. I'm not going to sleep for another week. I'm going to be back with my pile of papers here. I don't think I can do a show next week. I'm going to still be on this one. It really bothered me. Let's see. Let me see. Can you tell us about the blackmail? True crime. Can you tell us anything more about the blackmail? Was it somebody in the Tapas 7? Was it somebody in the group with the parents? Somebody the parents knew. Which we already got that question, but I want to know about the blackmail. Because maybe it was somebody outside the group was being blackmailed, and they knew the group was going to be there, and there were going to be 4 kids. And they said, take that little girl. They have a set of twins and the little girl. You need a part 2 follow-up. Well, here's the interesting thing. Since you guys started talking and putting Madeleine McCann on the list, all of a sudden one girl ended up in jail because she was claiming to be Madeleine McCann, and she had that spot in her eye or something. She was saying she was her. They had to do DNA, and then they sent her to prison. She was a little nuts. And then I read about the guy getting out of prison, the number 1 suspect, the pedophile, which we already got a no on him, right? He was in the area, but this was too slick of a plan. This guy got caught raping a 70-year-old or 72-year-old or something. So, could have been me. Jeez. So, and how long was it planned in advance? So first, tell us about the blackmail. Was it someone in their group or someone who knew the plans of this group? You know, guys, it could have even been somebody affiliated with the hotel or the police, right? It could have been. They knew, I can get my hands on a kid. Let's see. I'm getting a doctor. I'm getting healing. Or someone. All right, healing. Big ego. Looks like a doctor so far. I wonder if they killed somebody. I wonder if they killed somebody and then the family, somebody in the family was like, you killed my wife. You operated on my wife. I don't even know what kind of doctors they were. I forgot. Regret. Money. I think we are really onto it here. Yeah. So it was somebody in the medical field. There was a death that this guy felt really bad about. I'm saying guy because this ugly face keeps showing up. And money. They wanted money to keep quiet. And then she goes missing. Runaway. What's the runaway? Drugs, poison. Same cards are coming up. Crime and passion. Look at that. The same cards. There's 80 cards here in this deck. Wasn't a wooded area. Okay, this is reverse. Wasn't a wooded area. Outer space. All right, so we got a yes on it was somebody who was a doctor healer, killed somebody, and was being blackmailed. How long in advance was it planned? How long in advance was it planned? How long in advance was it planned? We got 2 more minutes. How long in advance was it planned? Let's ask if Kate and her husband of enemies, and let's ask if that guy Matthew Oldfield. So Kate and Jerry and Matthew Oldfield. Did we get who's number 10? I'm going to find out right now. 1, 2. Susan Crook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't do it, guys. Can someone tell me who the 10th name is on this board? Just write in the 10th name in caps. The 10th name. The 10th name. And then I'll ask, how long in advance was it planned? Cruel face. Well, that cruel card face keeps coming up. And that is quite a ring. Number 10. Susan Crook, number 10. Okay, so it is Susan Crook. You picked 10. Who's the 10th person in the feed? Anybody? Just doing it old school. Oh. Yay, just doing it old school. You're week number 2. So we have Aroha and just doing it old school. I don't know if I can handle an hour reading with you. Hey guys, I gotta tell you a funny story. I had a lot of spirit came through yesterday, and we're in Lionsgate Portal. But there was one mom who was so bad I had to ask all my guides to please take her out of my room. And the daughter said, she contacted me today. She said, that's the first real validation I got that was my mother, because any room she walked into, people wanted her to leave. Oh, now I'm getting Susan Crook is number 10. I am number 10th in the feed. Okay, so sorry, just doing it old school. It's Susan Crook. All right, last question. How long in advance was it planned? Oh my gosh, this will entail a part 2. I got the feeling. We'll see if they proceed now, because they're not letting that German suspect out of Germany for the time being. He's confined, but they're watching him, and they keep questioning about Madeleine McCann. Keep saying he doesn't know anything. So, how long in advance was this planned, please? First number that shows up in the card. There's the star. The star is 17, but I asked for a number card. A chariot. Ooh. That's moving, putting it in plans. 4. 4 of Cups. 4 months. 4 of Cups. Cups is months. 4 of Cups. 4 months. Let me just, is this correct? Am I correct in saying this was planned 4 months ago? 4 months from the time she was abducted. Am I correct in saying she was taken 4 months? This was planned 4 months before she was taken. Am I correct? And I even took a nap, but this is just, I can't even stand the thought of the whole thing. Yeah. 4 months. It was planned for 4 months. So now I have to look into, when did they plan this vacation? I have to look into each of the medical practices of these people. And that's not going to be easy, I'm sure, because they're all in other countries, so I don't know how I find that. But if AI has anything, I'm sure they're going to find it for me, because AI was the one that seemed surprised, like, oh, I can't believe I found another discrepancy. I think we're onto something here. This is going to be an interesting show. And the more that came up, though, the more aggravated I was getting, because this was 2007. We're not talking 1985. We're talking the digital era. We're talking, there's lots of media going on. There's lots of, surveillance cameras. Is there anything else our crime cards want to show us about this case? And yeah, I guess the key to trying to win is to respond a lot, write a lot in the comments, and then you have a chance. I want to thank everybody for being a part of this. This is so much. Well, this case wasn't fun, but I was very, very intrigued. I was very interested, and I haven't read this much in a long time, and really, and some stuff was hard to read because there was a lot of redactions and the police file records that they have that they present, they don't make it easy for people to find out things. Fire. Oh yeah. So I think we're talking about the ending here. Do you guys see this? I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to let the cards speak for themselves. I asked if there's anything else you can tell us about this case. She was a gift. Well, I picked it from popular demand, Susan. So I don't show favoritism here. I try not to anyway. And when I went on Facebook, everybody on Facebook was like, yeah, read about that case. They got picked more than all the other ones. And then when I saw the woman claiming to be Madeleine was just in the news, and then I saw the Today Show had an interview about the guy who was let out of prison, and they going through the investigation again. But this investigation tonight, discovering a black male. Why does crime usually happen? It's usually to cover up another crime. There's never usually one, unless it's a crime of passion or spontaneous thing. Usually, if a murder happens, it's because they're committing a robbery, or they're covering up something, and then they have to kill the person who saw it. Inside job. Card. Dating. Oh, now I gotta look up who is married and who were partners. Maybe it was a partner. Maybe it was Matthew's partner. If he was married, why didn't his wife go check on the kids? A sexist would say. I hope you're having a good time. I am. I thank you all for joining. We got to go now. It's too long of a show, and I'll get kicked off of YouTube. I do want to say this was absolutely fascinating. And should I pull one more to make it a 7? Oh, jeez. That's why. Hey, guys. Say a prayer for Madeleine tonight. My candle's still burning. I'm going to sit here till it burns out and say some prayers for her as well. And I thank you all for joining this program and supporting me in the way that you do. I really, really appreciate you. And stay tuned. We'll see what's coming up next week. Goodbye, everyone, and have a very blessed weekend. I'm going to have to cut off the whole beginning of the show where the sound wasn't right, but I'll repost this at some point. Take care.